This is Ray Mooney's Wild World of Wet Shaving. Let's begin. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today I have someone that I'm so excited to talk to. It's been a while that I'd wanted to talk to him. He's a true pillar of the community. So let me, without further ado, welcome Leigh, also known as EldrormR, but generally Eld, to the podcast. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Thanks, me too. This is, I've been wanting to do this for a while, so I'm glad that we can organize it and get it going. I'll jump right into the questions. First thing I have to know is where the username comes from.
So the username is an old gaming handle that just sort of stuck back in, I think, '02, maybe
Wow.
'03. Some friends and I were just gaming online, and I was like, all right, I need something that's going to be unique. And I found a random Viking name generator online and plugged some stuff in, and it spat out that, and it just sort of stuck.
And Viking name indeed. So, only now did you tell me the proper pronunciation. Until then, I sort of guessed at it and struggled with it. So, good to know that it's EldrormR. But everyone calls you Eld for short. And,
Yes.
you're very involved in the wet shaving community and a very, in my opinion, rich asset to the wet shaving community. But before all of that, how did you get into this? How did your wet shaving journey start?
So I was trying to figure that out because length of time in my memory is a not a strength for me. So I know my youngest was born, so it's been less than 12 years, but more than 9. I got tired of paying $20 for 4 cheap Mach 3 razor heads that I
Yes,
was
sir.
lucky to get a week out of.
Right.
Um, and doing research, I'm like, I want something that's a little bit more environmentally responsible, um, something that I'm going to be able to have around for a long time. And I'm also a jump in with both feet every single time sort of guy. So I dove right into straight razors.
Oh, wow.
Um, Ended up with a starter kit from, I think it was Straight Razor Palace when they were still active,
Okay.
and ended up butchering myself for quite a long time
That's
because I was like, oh, I'll be able to teach myself this. So I got the
sure.
strop and I got the razor, and then I had started to dive into, like the soaps and everything. And after realizing that all I was doing was mangling my face while trying to get somewhat smooth,
Yeah.
um, I looked for other avenues. And then when my oldest was young enough to start busting into our single bathroom while I was shaving, I figured me being startled and cutting my neck open was not a good idea while he was, like 3.
Right.
So I switched over to vintage safety razors, and it just sort of stuck.
Okay.
And I've been doing some form of wet shaving, whether it's the single edge, double edge, straight razor, pretty much since then.
Amazing. So I guess you got the hang of the straight razor eventually.
Yes,
No choice.
very
Yeah.
much.
But it's interesting because my last interview was with another Ohio person, Doug Lane from Adopted
Hmm.
Acres. And strangely, he dove right in with the straight razors as well. So maybe, is there something in the water? Is it an Ohio thing?
I don't know if it's an Ohio thing. I actually got a chance to talk with Doug at the Ohio Wet Shavers meetup
Oh,
last year.
great. Yeah,
Um, Good dude, really good dude. And he was
indeed.
talking about his 300 soaps, and he
Right.
brought his smelling tubs, and it was two, oh God, 13-gallon totes just packed to the brim of soaps,
Wow.
and
Yeah,
and not his own. So it
incredible.
was, yeah, it was something else. But I've tried to get a couple of my friends into straight razor shaving,
Yeah.
and they're like, man, no. But I have been able to nudge a few of them into safety razors. So
Okay, that's good enough because straight razor, it's an acquired taste. I love it, but it was a sharp learning curve, no pun intended, as well. That was so
perfect
silly.
opportunity.
Yeah, ridiculous. That just came out. I didn't even think about it. And there you go. But yes, I too have mangled my face, over and over and over again until I got the hang. So it always thrills me and amazes me when someone tells me they dove into wet shaving via straight razors. Uh, Good for you. Amazing. And how long have you been a member of the community, sort of the Reddit community or Discord now?
So Reddit, I think I'm going on 8.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Discord, much more recent.
Sure.
It's once that really started to take off. I was on Discord before the big Discord IRC Reddit
Rupture.
drama, I guess rupture. I think
Yes.
I don't know if I would call it rupture, but it was a clear divide between groups,
Yes.
which is not what I was hoping would happen.
Right.
But I mean, when you have a very massive amount of people that get together over a hobby or a similar interest, you are going to have your groups that don't necessarily jive. But
Oh, absolutely. But I mean,
yeah,
interestingly, you seem, like you've been around for long enough to have seen that. That's when I sort of joined the community and I would go on IRC and I couldn't keep up and it was completely overwhelming, but it also seemed very cliquish. Like the people that were chatting had been chatting for a long time and were very tight and, didn't have much patience for newbies or people discovering it, which is understandable to a certain extent, but certainly not welcoming.
yeah,
Um,
and I had the same experience.
oh, did you?
I
Okay.
think I started to get into or attempt to get into IRC when it was the B10 pass around that Spank did.
Okay.
And I had been talking to people like Visceral Watch and a couple of
Sure.
the more well-known community members before then. So they kind of vouched for me to get in on that pass round. And then I kept trying to go back to IRC and go back, and I just never found a good groove with the group.
Right.
Um, and then when the Discord thing started, it was just a better fit for me. And I've kind of stuck around both in Reddit and Discord since then.
Right. I agree. I sort of feel exactly the same way. So great. And I'm glad that Discord has built up to be, its own little thing. So that's nice too. Dare I ask, are you a collector?
I used to be more of a collector, but now I'm not quite utilitarian with down to a single, but I'm trying really hard, at least with hardware, to well, I'm just out of space, so that helps. But
Right.
I've got my Razer storage box in my bedroom, and when that starts to overflow, I know it's time to really get particular.
Okay.
So I'm down to 9 straights, and then probably about 15 SE and DE. Most of them are ones that I've refurbished.
Right.
So
That's absolutely reasonable to me, at least. Sounds good. And do you rotate through it? Do you sort of buy, let's say, straights, new straights, get rid of old ones, that sort of thing?
if I've got the itch,
Yeah.
when I first started refurbishing the safety razors for myself back when I realized that straight razors, it was just not my season.
Sure.
Um, I started doing work for other people as well. Once I started posting like, hey, look at how shiny I got this one, or
Right.
hey, this one was busted and I figured out how to fix it. So the majority of my gear is vintage, with the exception of I've got a polished brass bird that was a Grail razor of mine.
Uh-huh.
I've got a second generation charcoal goods brass
Nice.
maze. That was another Grail razor.
Yeah.
And then I've won two timeless razors at two Ohio meetups.
Oh, no kidding.
And
Wow.
yeah, good luck there.
Sure. That's
Everything else is vintage or vintage Franken razor.
okay. Interesting. And we'll talk about the Frankenrazor soon.
Yes.
Are you similar to Doug from Ohio? Are you a soap collector as well?
Yeah.
Not not 300, I hope.
No, no,
Right.
not 300. But I do have the backup den in the workshop. So
Okay.
I've got, the bottom drawer of my tool chest is all my, I'm going to call it overflow for lack of a better word, that
Sure.
doesn't fit under the sink. So
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. And, in all of that, do you have a favorite soap, favorite scent? Does one stand out or?
as far as notes,
Yeah.
um, I, I'm I'm a fiend for like the wet stone
Okay.
style of note. It was in Southern Witchcraft Carpathia, which sadly the balsam fir burned the hell out of me, so I
Oh,
had to get rid
no.
of that one. Um, Hammam slash Hammami, depending on how old your noble otter tub is.
Right.
And then like it depends on the season for me. Like
Sure.
in the warmer stuff, I tend to gravitate towards the light and the citrus and the mentholy. Where in the winter, it'll be like Serious Moonlight, Spearhead, Seaforth Leather, old school. I'm actually particular the Blue Label Leviathan from Barrister and Mann.
Interesting.
Um, Something about the bases when Will updated everything changed the scent to me, and
Right.
just for my own use, that Blue Label is chef's kiss. It's the best version of
Interesting.
Leviathan for me.
Great. I love how, someone can have a favorite through different bases or the same scent, but many different reissues. That's great. That's great. And do you have, one favorite out of all of them or a favorite base? No, it's all
I, you know, I grab whatever I'm in the mood for in the moment, which
love it.
sometimes is frustrating because there are too many good ones.
Sure. That's it.
Um, but yeah, like even the stuff like the Martin de Condre or MDC, the Brain Bowl base, when I before I undertook the first killing, um, I was hesitant to use it because I didn't have a lot of experience. But I mean, I've now dipped into vintage soaps, which are a little bit harder to manage, but I actually really
Yes.
like those as well. So there are very few bases that I haven't been able to really get along with.
Okay. And that makes sense. I mean, they're all shaving soap after all. And if you're patient and smart about it, then yes. Great. And favorite razor through all of those?
Oh, if it was a straight, it would probably be my Earn 2278.
Okay.
And it's one of the first vintage razors that I found. I actually was walking through an antique shop that's about 10, 15 miles from my house
Yeah.
and found this massive display and ended up like messaging Pudding, like, hey, dude, is this razor any good? I've never heard of it. It's huge. It's beautiful. It's butterscotch scale, square point. I think it's a hollow. I didn't know anything. He's like, yeah,
Sure.
grab that.
Yeah.
So I grabbed that and a couple others, and that's the razor. If it's stropped and the edge is good, like I'll grab that one. If we're talking single edge, it'll be the MM24 or clog
Yes.
proof. And then with DE, I I rotate through all of them.
Okay.
So it really depends on whatever I'm just craving at the moment.
Sure. Interesting. And yes, Pudding is a great resource for what to buy or just on the fly. He's also, mentored me a great deal through this whole thing. Do you sharpen your own straights?
Not yet.
Okay.
I am attempting probably this summer when work has slowed down for me. I'll learn to refresh my own edges.
Yeah.
I've had two attempts so far. I butchered one edge and then made one usable.
Sure.
So I'm batting
That's great.
50%, but
It's good
I don't think I
average.
have an interest. Yeah, I don't think I have an interest in like the full run of stones. I got enough other things that keep me
Sure.
busy with wet shaving, but
I mean,
time will
I'll
tell.
I'll tell you what, from my own experience, and it's certainly not traditional in that sense. I dove right into it, and again, thanks to Pudding, who helped me out and found me someone selling synthetic stones. So I bought a set of synthetics, and then I managed to get one Japanese natural stone, and it's just a very hard finisher, and it came with a slurry stone of unknown origin uh, and it just works for me. Like I've learned to use that and have a beautiful edge. I'd really like to send it out to someone to validate that, but I shave with it. It's like a beautiful shave. So I don't know. Forget all of
Hey, if
those
you're happy, I
progressions and all of. I don't know any different, and I don't want to dive down that rabbit hole just because I can't afford it. Straight up,
was going to say we happen to know a guy who could evaluate the edge for you, and
That's
he's much
right.
closer to you than he used to be.
I'm thrilled that he's now in Canada, indeed, even though he's far west, but same postal service. We'll say
There you
that.
go.
Right. Do you have a favorite scent?
The spearhead scents have always hit
Okay.
me in a
Yeah.
sweet spot. So I would say either leather if
Yeah.
it's colder or sea spice lime if it's not.
Great answer. I agree wholeheartedly. But Sea Spice is very nice, and I'm really glad that it's being revived once again. Looking
Yeah, I was
forward.
really happy to read that.
Yeah,
Need the bath soaps.
indeed. Um, recurring question, would you use another man's used soap?
I have quite a bit. That's actually the
Okay.
majority of my den has been purchased either from the bazaar or from connections in Discord or Reddit.
Okay, great. And would you shave live on social media?
What's your definition of social media? Like
Well,
video, audio, like
I mean, the shave live is more of a video thing, I guess, but I know that in chatting with you before this interview, there's something perhaps pertinent. So, you have shaved on in a public way. How would you describe that? Certainly.
uh so God, about 2 or 3 years ago, a couple other Reddit members, so Visceral Watch, Jungilla, and then Samaj 3000 and I got into many discussions over gem razors and the value of them, the capacity they have to shave well, and how uh, the scary feeling that people have towards the MMOC is really not valid at all once you
Right.
get comfortable with your technique. Led to us running a couple austere August challenges, both for the MMOC and then eventually bore brushes with raw Hagen. And then we just kept talking and kept talking. We're like, you know what? We all shave with the same gear to try and like get our opinions leveled out and see
Sure.
what we like, what we don't. What if we did a podcast with it? And I think it was DJ's idea to call it the Audio Book Club Shave,
Right.
where we in 3 different countries, 3 different time zones, decided to start a podcast where we would shave with the same gear on the podcast, no video at all.
Yeah.
And I think we recorded over 2 years, something like 14 episodes. And it started off with just the four of us, or the three of us, if like with me, either I was sick or my kids were sick. And so I couldn't be there. Or, like sometimes Visceral Watch had, work or lessons that he was teaching so he could make it and we'd carry on without a missing judge. And then we had guests on as well, and it turned into an interview, and we would send the guest all the gear so that they were also shaving with
Right.
all of the same stuff the rest of us had. And there would be lots of banter and just carrying on and, honest discussion about it, And
Sure.
so I guess if you count podcast shaving, yes. As
Fair.
far as anything else, I have not. Would I? If people are willing to watch, yeah, but I'm
Okay.
not going to go out of my way to do it.
Fair enough. That makes sense. And I must say the book club may or may not have been a strong influence to me in doing this podcast. Just saying.
Well, there were
Um,
dozens of listeners, so
there were just, similar to mine. So in the same vein, whatever happened to that? That just sort of
I
faded.
think life happened.
Yeah,
It actually, as my kids got older and got more busy, my oldest got into multiple sports. My youngest started to get more active in the neighborhood. And when, there are 2 kids and 2 adults, you kind of have to divide and conquer. We've
of
got
course.
4 years between our kids. So it's not as simple as, oh, mom, if you could take both of them, we'll go. Plus the massive time differences. It was difficult because I think DJ was shaving most nights for the podcast at like midnight his
Oh, no
time,
kidding. Okay.
and he had a little one as well. So
Sure.
it was a lot to manage.
Yeah,
And when life got hectic for all of us, it just sort of kind of petered out, which was sad because we all really enjoyed it. But when life happens, life happens.
absolutely. Maybe I can organize a commemorative episode or something with all of the original participants.
That would be fantastic. I'd be
Not to
down in a
shave, but
heartbeat.
that's a good idea. So just putting it out there, and we'll see what happens. But I do miss that. It was really quite an enjoyable podcast for those that like to listen to people banter on about shaving stuff, of course.
Yeah,
But
the old episodes are still up. I'm not sure what service. I think Spotify has them. Most of the streaming services, I think, have them still there. If you want to
okay, I'll
listen to,
certainly.
it's mostly a lot of giggling and laughing, but it's
But it was very, as you said, I forget what adjective you used, but it was just sort of honest and real. So
yeah.
that was really it was fun. If I can find it, I'll put a link in the show notes for this episode.
Oh, very cool. Thank you.
My pleasure. So now let's talk about EldrormR Industries, if we please. Um,
Go for it.
well, I mean, for one, so I'll just backtrack, and we were talking about the MMOC before. For those that don't know, which is would be surprising to me in terms of the listenership of this, but MMOC is Multimatic Open Comb Razor. It's an old vintage gem razor, and some people are very scared of it because it seems to be able to bite you or, sort of nick you at the most inconvenient times, let's say. I've never had a problem with it. I actually quite enjoy it. But then again, I got into straights, so really like the aggressive shave, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, you've made this Franken razor that has become an extremely popular razor amongst our crowd, and you call it the MM24.
correct.
So
Yeah.
is that Multimatic 24 or what's
It is a combination of the two razors that I married together.
okay?
The MMOC, or because the handle and the mechanics are the same with the MMOC and the clog proof,
Yes.
whatever I have on hand or I'm able to source, I'll use those. And then the Ever Ready 1924, lovingly
Ah,
called the shovel head.
yes.
So, and ironically, the name EldrormR Industries actually came from DJ,
Oh, really?
because for me, yeah, this has always been fun. It's
Yeah,
always been a hobby. I've always enjoyed working with my hands. So, like, refurbishing old razors was something that I just enjoyed doing. I never
sure.
really set out to make any money or start anything really serious. I can take something that's not shiny and working and make it shiny and working, and it works
Right.
well. This is awesome. And I just kept doing it. And eventually DJ was like, all right, we gotta think of a name for this. And I was like, you guys go for it. Like, that's not my wheelhouse. I'm not really good at coming up with witty names. And he threw out there were a lot of options.
Oh, we're
And
there.
yeah, and EldrormR Industries, he's just like, we're gonna go with that. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I actually think DJ and Samaj were the ones that started using it in chat and on
Ah,
Reddit.
okay.
So I think it's because of them that it became known as that. But
Interesting.
with the MM24, I ended up having an old MMOC that was just, it came in a lot of other stuff I was just going to clean up and
Yeah,
see if I could give away to friends or sell or whatever. And it was, the top cap was broken, one of the blade tabs was gone, so there was no way it was safe to use. And I was like, you know what? Let's take it apart and see how it works. Like, I
sure.
know how a lot of the old Gillettes work, especially with the barrels, but I can't take this one apart. So we're going to take it apart with a hammer and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah,
So deconstructed the whole thing. I mean, stripped it out as far as it would go, broke it even more in the process, which I knew
sure.
was going to happen. It was like, huh, and just sort of let it marinate. Found a old 1924 that I polished up. Loved how it shaved, and I hated the little pencil grip handle that
Right.
came with.
Yeah,
It's the tiniest little thing, and if you like the travel Gillettes or the tuckaways, that tiny handle isn't uncomfortable or unfamiliar. For me, since I typically like the longer handled razors, that
sure.
was almost torturous.
Right.
Like, I was cranking my wrist to try and get the angle right. And I was like, all right, I have this broken handle. I have this other razor head. I wonder what I could do. So I did a deep dive into trying to find like thread counts and like
Sure.
old, manufacturing labels. Ended up taking the shovel head into a couple hardware stores and just sat in their like nut and bolt aisle, like trying
Oh,
things
no
and getting
kidding.
weird looks
Wow.
from the employees.
Sure.
Found the threading that work. Ended up finding a source for brass all thread
Okay.
because I didn't want to strip anything. Um, got a tap and die set, and then ended up finding a way to completely clean out the mechanics of the MMOC handles, or the micromatic handles, getting the all thread solidified in there and locked into place, and then started figuring out how to trim it down so it all fit nice and pretty, and polishing everything up, and
Amazing.
ended up making the MM24.
Yeah. Because it almost seems as if it's two components that are not supposed to be married, and that's the beauty of it, or
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
right. And it's also a great shave, I must say.
Well,
It's
thank you.
I have a bunch of gem razors, and that's one of my favorite. I also like the clog proof a lot that you had
I do
mentioned
too.
before.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, Viscera Watch sold me a clog proof way back, and that was one of my first gems. And I was like, wow, this is something.
It's a good one. And researching for the MM24, I didn't realize how many different variations of gem razors there were.
Yes.
Even like if you look at the Damascene,
Yeah.
that by itself, there were three different styles of top caps. You had the open comb, you had the closed comb, you had countless handles depending on what generation you looked at. If you
Sure.
look at the older ones, they have the stropping attachment and it was a hollow handle. Then you go to the nickel plated brass handles. Then, later when I think it was World War II started happening and they needed to reuse the brass, they went to a steel handle. So it's really interesting with all those things and all the variations in like the clog proof as well. So
Yeah,
it was cool. Like the amount of knowledge that's out there, if you're patient enough to find it, is really cool.
absolutely. And it has quite a long history. And so how many MM24s have you made?
I've stopped counting.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've sent parcels to at least 9 different countries.
Oh, wow.
Um, I think I stopped counting at 40 or 50.
No kidding.
And I still make them from time to time. I'll
Yeah.
do one-offs or two-offs. Like I know Samaj has one of two um, MM24s that I used the bullet tip handle from.
Okay.
And then we have a certain uh, European member that has we've dubbed it the Scrub D4,
Okay.
which was, I managed and I cemented everything so it um, wouldn't ever come apart on purpose. So the no scrubs contest and the member that does that was teasing me and was like, "Oh, look at this! I've got a two-headed MM24," and all he
I
did
remember
was
that. Yeah.
duct tape
That's right.
two clog proofs together.
Yeah.
So I ended up making him a two-ended MM24, where one end was the
Wow.
original MMOC
Yeah.
and the other side was the 1924. But to make it as annoying to use as possible, I made sure that when I cemented everything, the heads were offset,
Love
but
it.
just enough so that it couldn't fit level. It wasn't nice like a 90% or 90-degree offset or 45. It was like 13 and a half degrees. So
Yeah.
unless you looked at it, you'd be like, oh, that, and you'd go to set it down, it wouldn't work. And
And
I
it
picked
won't.
the
It's hilarious.
ugliest but still functional razors I could,
Yeah.
and it still makes a showing, I think, about every lather games, and it
It,
just cracks me up
I've seen
every
it.
single
I
time.
didn't know the detail about the off
Yeah.
angle. That's fantastic. That's really good. How do you source your stuff? Like, where do you get parts for all of these? Just old razors?
Yeah, just old razors.
Yeah.
I will just peruse eBay to just see what's
Okay.
there, especially because I would rather refurbish what I'm going to use as opposed to buy it new.
Sure.
Um, there's just something about seeing and using my own handiwork that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But I'm also lucky enough, I've got 3 or 4 really big antique shops within about 20 minutes of my home.
Oh,
Within
wow.
an hour away, there's two massive antique malls. I think one of them is the largest in Ohio.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'll take an afternoon and I'll just drive over there and walk around for a couple hours. And if I find something fantastic, and if I don't, that's okay. It's still,
Sure.
a
Still
little
fun to
break
look
for me.
around. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I guess they have a steady supply of vintage razors going through those places.
I would hope. Last time I was there, I spent 6 hours and I came home with one razor. Now, the time before
Okay.
that, I was there for 2 hours and came home with 8.
Right.
So, like most things, it's going to be completely hit or miss, and that's half the fun. You never know what you're going to find.
Of course. Of course. Absolutely. And especially if you're sort of Frankensteining them or restoring old ones, it's always a challenge, right? You find
Hmm.
something. How does your partner feel about all of this, if I may ask?
Uh, I've stopped for the most part getting the sideways head glances and the eye rolls when
Okay.
packages show up, but
Right.
it's not a priority. Kids are priority. So
Sure.
if I've got time after work, I've got what I call my tinker time.
Yep.
I get home from work, I decompress in the workshop for about an hour, unless it's a day the kids are home from school, like they could ride the
Sure.
bus home. Then the second, they're home, I'm done.
Okay.
So it's been supported, and it
Yep.
also hasn't negatively impacted our budget, our family budget. So
It's
there's
perfect.
really, it pays for itself at
Nothing
this
to
point.
say.
So
Oh, does
yeah,
it? Okay, great.
yeah.
So what other, I mean, I'll tell the listeners that I just received a beautiful fire hose strop of your hand. So thank you for
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Um, and I actually just honed up a razor using that. As you can see, the listeners cannot. I am not shaved today. It's been a very busy day, but I will try it tonight and see, see how that worked. But it's, again, it's vintage. It evokes some kind of something to me. So it's just a nice piece in and of itself, and certainly, useful and practical as well. What was the inspiration for that?
Well, the inspiration for most of my refurbishment is I don't want to have to pay someone else for it.
Okay,
Or I'll see it and I'll go, holy shit, that's really expensive. I wonder if I could do that and save myself some money.
sure.
And through most projects, I can.
Yeah.
Or if it's something that, like I know I'm way out of my league on, I will pass. Like the complete honing process with razors. I know
Yes.
how heavy-handed I am. Probably not a good idea for me to dive deep into stones, but I have, I want a straight razor. Okay, well, I really want, like, I finally, thanks to a couple Discord members, was able to score a Wade and Butcher for barbers use, but
Nice.
the scales were garbage. I mean, they were
Yeah.
cracked. There was rust on the blade. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to make new scales instead of paying someone,
Sure.
$120 to do it. And so I, did the research, figured out what I wanted, turned around and made. I'm incredibly happy with a set of Blackhorn scales, and I got rid of the
Nice.
old lead spacer and ended up using a piece of polished brass to
Okay.
counterbalance the heavy weight of the razor. So
Beautiful.
I've always enjoyed just making it myself if I
Yeah.
can, and the fire hose strop was no different. I think I saw them on a website for like $90, and I'm like, that's not $90 worth of materials or time. And I was like, all right, let's see then. If someone else can do it, okay. I've got, a little bit of leather working knowledge. Okay, we're looking at a D ring, a clip, couple, Chicago screws or rivets, depending on what's available,
Right.
and then the fire hose. And I found a hell of a deal on eBay, and I was like, what, let's go for it. And so I, scored the fire hose, looked into how to clean it so it was safe to use on razors, and then, like, I've got two more in the shop right now that I'm looking to finish up and then put on two. I'm trying to think of what two more leather straps. So it would be a complete two-piece set as
Oh,
opposed
nice.
to the single piece that you have and that I
Yeah.
have in my closet. So
Yeah. Amazing. And I love the entrepreneurial nature of it. But it's more, it sounds like it's more just to make and to figure it out as opposed to, the selling can come later. So that's
yeah.
great. Wonderful. Really wonderful. And other accessories or products that EldrormR Industries make, or mainly the razors and the strops
Well, for now, it's and the brushes. So
and the
pretty
brush.
much everything. Yeah, I do brushes too.
Tell me
My
about the
my
brushes.
favorite brush. Well, again, same thing. I found an old rubber set 400.
Oh, right.
I
Yes.
think
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
first one I found was a 403, and it was dinged up and grody, and I was like, I'm gonna make this shiny. And so I went down a rabbit hole of going out of my way to find and buy those and collect them, and found a way to basically, I think the first 5 or 6 of them I did completely by hand, and found a way if the base aluminum is good enough to take it up to a mirror polish. I ended up giving a give. I did a PIF with one, I want to say about 7 years ago,
Okay.
um, and I was like, all right, well, I've got the metal handle down. I like that. What other cool stuff is out there that I can work with? So I
Sure.
did a couple. Just I've had vintage brushes explode in my hand because I'm being too aggressive with the Dremel.
Right.
I've attempted refurbishing lucite, but it's a little bit beyond my knowledge base. But I was able to take an old, it It was an ever ready. It was the clear lucite bottom and like a cream. Um, it wasn't Bakelite, but like that sort of old rigid plastic.
Yeah.
Um, was able to take the old knot out, open it up, and then actually swell the ferrule opening to
Oh,
fit
really?
a 30 millimeter mother lode knot. But then
Wow.
before I set the knot, I ended up filling the base of the ferrule with glow powder.
Nice.
So if you flip it over and you shine a light on
Look
it or you
through.
have it
Yeah.
out in the sunlight, the base will actually mildly glow.
That's amazing.
I
That's
just
amazing. But
have
that's
fun
so
with
much
it.
fun. It's so much
Yeah,
fun.
and that's what drives this all is
Sure.
I enjoy doing it. And like there's a streak for about 9 months where my own life was just hectic
Yeah.
and make taking the time in the shop to make the MM24s just wasn't as enjoyable. So I'm like,
Sure.
you know what? I got the parts. They're not going to go bad,
Right.
so they just sat in the workshop and, once I get the next couple projects that I want to get done, then I'll probably crank out another two, three, four of them. And then
Yeah.
whatever else catches my fancy, that'll be the next project.
I love it. I love it. And it's a great way to sort of keep in the hobby and keep enjoying the hobby, actually. So that's fantastic. Do you sell them? Do you have an Etsy store or something, or you sort
I
of
don't.
just
It's
sell them through the
it's
community?
sell them through the community.
Yeah.
I'll do like a hardware purge about once a year, once every other year, or
Okay.
like I've got a random fire hose strop up now. I'll throw, like an MM24 up, or if there's something I really want to get and I don't have the money for it, I'll go out of my way to spend a little bit of extra time finishing up a couple pieces, and then I'll throw like a little purge up with, five, six, seven razors on it or
Sure.
brushes or whatever. And if it sells, it sells, and if not, I mean, it's in the workshop ready to go if someone ever
Yeah.
wants it. So,
Amazing. And also, again, a great way to fund the hobby and to,
mhm.
how important is it for you to contribute to the wet shaving community?
I'm a teacher by trade,
Ah,
so I enjoy sharing knowledge. I always
okay.
have. It's, I guess, part of who I am is a big
Yeah,
part of like, let
absolutely.
me let me make you better in some way if I can. So whether it's sharing knowledge or like gifting you with a starter set so you can start this adventure on your own. Um, if you have the time, I think it's important to be around as long as you're having fun. I mean, that's my whole thing.
Sure.
If it becomes a hassle or like you log on, you read some stuff and you just end up angry, like it's not worth it. Like
No,
this is supposed to be a hobby. At
right.
the end of the day, we're really just scraping hair off our bodies with sharp edges. I mean, that's what it boils down to,
Sure.
but we found a way to make it incredibly enjoyable. And like for me, the morning shave is the one time of day I have to myself.
Right.
So my wife works from home. We got two younger kids. So when everyone's up and around, there's always someone up and around. So
Sure.
getting up, before the sun comes up, getting a shower in, getting a good shave during the week, like that's my meditation time, if you will.
Absolutely. Oh, I get it.
So yeah, and I find the same for the community. Like I get a chance to interact with some amazing people, like generous people, smart people, some snarky people, which I can roll with, to a
Sure.
degree, but
It's part of it,
like
but
yeah, like I said, we've got a very large group with a ton of different personalities. You're not always going to get along with everyone, but
absolutely.
as long as it's respectful, I can always learn something from everybody. And I think it's important to hang around. I got a ton of help both with hardware and with software when I first started, and knowledge and experience. And hey, I did it this way. Don't. You
Right.
will
Of
don't do
course.
it this
Yeah.
way.
Don't even.
Um, yeah. So if I can save someone some blood loss or, you know, help open someone's eyes to a piece of hardware that they hadn't really thought about trying before or they
Sure.
weren't having good luck with, and now they love it, which is also why I started the Raw Hog and Challenge. Yeah, I can't speak. Raw Hog Challenge. That's why we did the MMOC challenges
Yeah.
for Austere August, was to help people experience, hopefully in a positive way, more of what's out there than the people that get in, that like their declaration grooming brush, rut, and it's only those and
Sure.
nothing else is good. And it's well,
Right.
it's a different flavor, but so that's the important part for me and the community. Like I said, we got awesome people.
Absolutely. But that in and of itself contributes to the awesomeness and makes the community fun and exciting and, keeps things going. So the same, the raw hog, like a moron, I disqualified myself, but I really learned a great deal in terms of how to break in, a boar brush. And so it was super interesting. And I don't know that I had really tried or dove into boar brushes before. So now, it's part of my stable. So yes, I attest to the fact that it is important and it's worth something. Absolutely. Speaking of which, important and worth something, let's talk about the brain bowl. So for those that don't know, it's Martin de Candre, right? Or I think,
I I
but
am strong in
MDC,
English
right?
and nothing else, right?
Right. It's a French company, and being in a French-speaking place, I would guess that it's pronounced Martin de Candre. But they make this wood bowl that has, it's like triple milled soap, or what is it exactly?
So my understanding is it's almost triple milled. It is
Okay.
dry aged, so they're
Ah,
sold as 200-gram bowls.
right.
And so you get this beautiful hand-turned wooden bowl, and it's not just filled to the brim, it is overflowing. So you get almost double what fits in the
Right.
base of the bowl. And there were, you know, at the time, people were like, "Oh yeah, you'll have that thing for eons." And I'm like, "All right, has anyone actually ever done one start to finish and
Right.
documented how long it took?" And, oh no, and I deep dove all the old forums like Badger and Blade and all the stuff, and I couldn't find an answer. Well, I was chatting on Discord one night, and I said, "You know what? If someone bought me a brain bowl, I'd use it every day until it was gone." And they're like, "You serious?" I was like, "Yeah, they're expensive for
Well,
shave soap. It's
that's
like
it.
80
Yes.
some dollars." And
Well, and then
I
European
learned,
and imported and,
hmm
fancy.
and
Yes.
I learned that overnight, if you say something crazy like that, the community is going to hold you to that. I
That's
woke
right.
up to 3 or 4 messages from several community members saying, haha, and then one saying, "Hey, we've community funded your brain bowl. I need your address."
Right. Careful,
And
careful
are
what you
you?
wish for. Yeah,
Yes. And they're like, you can back out. And I said, no, I gave my word. Like, I absolutely will do this.
sure.
So I ended up picking the vetiver
Yeah,
brain bowl.
yeah.
It is still one of the scents that I will, whenever I use, I'm like, yes, this is good.
Even
Um,
after all going through that entire thing. Okay, that's great.
Yes. Well, I did give myself some leeway where the only constant for those, it ended up for me being 204 shaves.
Wow.
Um, and I took the brain bowl with me. I took it hiking. There's a shave of the day post somewhere on Reddit that was me taking the bowl hiking, and I have like 5 or 6 different pictures. I tried to recreate some of the Instagram ads that they had. So
That's
like,
funny.
there's one of the
That's
brain
great.
bowl on a tree stump, and there's one, it's
Yeah.
balanced precariously on the top of my hiking stick, and everywhere, every shave was either that brain bowl or there was one vacation we took to celebrate my mom's 70th birthday several states away. So I scraped together enough in a travel tub that
Right.
I weighed the bowl before and after, weighed the tub before and after. So I was able to get that consistent weight
Amazing.
measurement because I did a weigh in once a week,
Sure.
took pictures once a week, and documented everything, had people guess how many uses it would take, and ended up I think I did a Maggard's gift card for the person that was
Oh,
closest.
did you?
Yeah,
Fantastic. But
I
it,
was
it
like, what?
absolutely it became a thing, and it was, a
Hmm.
highlight of many people's day to see where you were
Well,
at with
and
the brain
and it
bowl.
started something because someone else made some smart
That's
ass
right.
comment online like, "Oh, 204, yeah, I'm surprised." Well, guess what? Everyone chipped in and got them a
Got
brain
them a
bowl,
brain
and
bowl. Yeah.
they ended up chewing through it, and it's 120 some shapes.
Oh,
Like,
no
it was this
kidding.
huge discrepancy. And they're
Wow.
like, "Well, I guess I'm just a heavy loader." I'm like, well, did you
Maybe.
enjoy it? And now, if you look at the shave of the days, there are 5 or 6 people now that are working on killing a brain bowl to
No
just kind
kidding.
of
That's
validate
funny. Yeah, yeah.
one end of the data or the other. It's really
Interesting.
cool.
So,
Yeah,
not only daring to do something like that, but also a trendsetter because, look at what's going
apparently.
on now. Yeah, well. So what's it like shaving, all of us, yourself included, with this big collection of soap? I practically shave with something new every day. Once in a while, I get stuck on one thing and use it for a few shaves, but normally it's a different scent or soap or whatever every time I shave. Um, that being said, what's it like using the same thing day after day after day, despite the fact that it's as a means to an end, if you will, or, for entertainment purposes?
I wanted to keep it enjoyable. So the
Okay.
only locked in thing was the brain bowl. I was
Yes.
switching hardware every day. I was switching post shaves every day. If I went for
All
a
right.
fragrance, I was able to use that. So I was able to keep it fresh,
Yeah.
which is why I turned around and bought myself another one of the same scent. And I'm
Nice.
starting to like when I have the urge, actually now I'm probably going to use it tomorrow, but
Right.
you know, by keeping it fresh and not locked in, like by the end of Austere August, I'm like, all right, I am done. Like
Yeah.
my birthday's the 31st. If it were only one day later, I can enjoy something new. But no, this is the 31st shave of 31 of the same
That's
stuff, same razor, same brush. Yeah, it's
sure.
like, oh my God, I'm
That's
so done with
devotion
this.
though.
It is.
I
Well,
don't usually make it through austere August myself just because, I can't. I don't have the discipline. So
a a
very
for effort
impressive.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
That's great.
that's how I kept it enjoyable.
Okay.
It's supposed to be fun. And if it's not, then it's probably not going to be for me anymore.
Fair enough. And once one is done with a brain bowl, is the nice wood bowl left over worth a damn, or a nice keepsake, or just throw it out, start again,
I
or
have threatened to finish a second one and
yes.
chase my wife around the house, a la Monty Python and the
I
Quest
love
for the
it.
Holy Grail,
Yeah,
knocking
yeah,
them
yeah.
together like the
I
coconut
knew what you
halves.
were going to say before you said it, and that's
Yep.
you have my support. Please,
Well, thank you.
please do that.
It'll take me a long time to kill that second bowl, but I will
Still, the
absolutely do
payoff
that.
is worth it. If you can clop
Yeah.
around the house like that, that's
Oh,
wonderful.
I
Yes.
absolutely will. But no, I actually keep it in the workshop, and if I get the little frag samples and it's not overflowing, I actually keep them in that bowl.
Okay.
It is a very good looking bowl and it's a good
Sure.
piece of woodwork, and I can respect it if for nothing else other than it's really pretty.
Yeah.
So
No, that's great. I've yet to try their soap actually, and who knows? Maybe I'll be inspired to buy a brain bowl now. But then I look over at my, 150 soaps and I'm like, what are you nuts?
yeah, I've actually hit the saturation point where I'm like, I'm really not craving anymore.
Right.
And then of course, like today I bought something else. So I'm like,
Look,
all right, there
I
we
think
go.
Greg Gallant put it best. Is it called conspicuous consumption? Maybe that's, maybe the right term. We're collectors. We like trying new things. I picked up a couple of new soaps at Maggard's. I can't help myself, and
Yeah,
got to try new things. I don't know. The problem is
yeah.
there's just so much of it. Trying to get my son into shaving twice a day, but he's can barely shave once a day. He's
See,
only 19.
you need a good local meetup where you can just stock the piff table.
It's true. It's true. And I know of a few wet shavers in Montreal, but far from doing a meetup. There's a Toronto meetup in Canada, but also not the Discord crew. So, I don't
Yeah,
know if I would ever partake in that. Anyway, I'll just die with my soap, and bequeath it to
I
the next generation.
I think we all have multiple generations worth of soap, so
Yes, we do.
I feel you on that one.
But that's what makes us all part of this, generous, fantastic community, right?
Yes, very much.
So I've asked this before, and you being a long-standing member of the community, or longer than many of the people that I've spoken with, what do you think of when I say golden age of wet shaving? Is that something that has passed? Is that something you feel you might have experienced, have yet to experience?
I'm not sure. I've actually been thinking about that because I know you ask everyone who comes
Sure.
on. And I think the best thing I've been able to come up with is I don't necessarily know if the golden age has passed, but I do think we are in a shift of the generations with
Interesting.
some of the big houses and shops and brush makers closing shop and
Yeah.
moving on to other adventures. It's kind of left this vacuum. And before, those names were so big and so established and so sought after, there really wasn't room for the new guy or new girl or new shaver
Yeah.
to really like hey, I'm going to try this. And since, I would say in the past year with those, really surprising closures, we've had a lot of Reddit members that have actually kind of stepped up to explore and ended up making some damn good products.
Yes.
So if you look at Rad Dino Creations, they're out. We've got Fanzine. When they can do a run,
Yeah.
their soap is fantastic. And we're starting to get these pockets of creativity. And now there's the space for
Sure.
those small shops to step up and put out product and start building a reputation where before there wasn't. So this might be the start of the next cycle. So
Right.
I think we might actually hit, I'm hoping, like another really good streak. I don't know if I'll call it a golden age. I'm not sure yet, but I definitely think we have a lot more options to explore than we did, a year and a half ago.
Interesting. I love that answer, and that makes a lot of sense. And even, it gets me thinking. My last episode was with Doug Lane from Adopted Acres, and he was talking about polymers and sort of evolving shave soap as it is. So that's very, very much in line with what you're saying. Here's hoping. I hope we
Yep.
all have the wherewithal to stick around for it because maybe exciting times ahead.
Yeah. And if not, we can make it better for the next group.
Of course, that's I love the positivity. Fantastic. What about all the drama in the shave world? Because, many of the members seem to love the drama, wait with bated breath for the drama, sort of dive headlong into the drama. I can appreciate some of it as entertainment, but I don't really get into the nitty-gritty of it. What do you think of that?
I'm about the same. I have
Yeah.
enough drama in real life that I
Right.
don't need to, I think at this point in time, I don't need to supplement. Um,
Fair.
if there are um, events that come up that are, I may read into them, so I'm aware of what people are talking about.
Sure.
I honestly can't think of the last time I actually commented in
Okay.
anything unless it was something where um, one of the people in the forum who I'm really close with have been on the receiving end of some very foul statements. And then I'll step up in defense of a friend, but I'm not going to
Sure.
seek out drama.
Right.
Um, if I get a chuckle out of something, fantastic. If I don't, and I'm like, uh, okay, enough of that, then we're good. I just move
Yeah.
on and go back to the positive side of things.
Okay. I love it. Love it. Any good lore to share from over the years?
Not that I think's new to everybody. I really, but because I stay out of the drama, I don't know if lore is going to be a strong suit for me either.
That's fair. That's fair. And it's, not encouraging anyone to shit talk, but some people. So the next question or the follow-up question is any grievances that you need to air publicly now that you have the platform to do
No,
so? No.
if I've got a grievance, I'll settle it with the person I have a grievance with, or
Fair
in
enough.
extreme cases where an attempt has been made to have other people see things differently and it's not happening, I'll block somebody. I
Sure.
think I've done that a total of maybe 2 times ever.
Right.
Just I'm
Again,
fairly patient, and if I can
and
ignore
it's
it, then there we go.
right. And for the most part, it's a kind, generous community. It's not
Very much so.
full of these,
Well, and there's not going to, I've never seen a single person that is distasteful all the time.
right.
Everyone's got something that will set them off or a thing that'll make it, not everyone's flavor, but everyone's also got, oh, hey, let me send you this, or, I ran into this, like, here, you're going to want to go here for information. So I think
Sure.
there's, not to sound cheesy, I think there's good in everybody.
Of course.
It's
I
just how
agree.
frequently it makes it to the surface.
Right. That's fair. And everybody can have a bad day too, right?
Hmm.
And if we're all always online, chatting on Discord, it sometimes maybe comes through that as well. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I
You,
would agree with that.
you said you were an educator. Can I ask what you do outside of wet shaving?
I, by trade, am a special education teacher.
Okay.
and that has morphed throughout the years. I've been lucky to be in my district for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So I started off as a special education middle school teacher, and then that morphed into doing that as well as clinical reading tutoring for students with dyslexia, which led to getting my dyslexia instructor certification through a couple entities, which then led to me teaching other teachers how to best teach students with a print disability, which then turned into becoming a special education academic coach. So I
Okay.
now
Wow.
teach teachers within
Teachers.
my district, which is now, as of this year, also morphed into being the data and assessment coach for our special needs preschool within the district.
Wow. Okay.
So a educator of many hats,
It
and I love it
seems.
all.
That's great. That's wonderful. And that's quite diverse within the education sandbox, if you will.
I think that's a great way to put that. I'm going to start
Yeah.
using that actually.
Please do. My pleasure to you're welcome. No,
Thank you.
just kidding. Yes. Have you seen the community change at all over the time that you've been involved in the wet shaving world?
I think the people have shifted. There was definitely before the Discord IRC Reddit
Yes.
split, for lack
Yes.
of a better word. Um, Before that, it was very cliquish
Okay.
through Reddit.
Yeah.
And I feel like you could tell the people who had each other's backs. You knew the users that were looking to just start shit. You knew the users that were there to kind of answer questions or help
Yeah.
everyone. And then there was other people that were just trying to like, I just want to shave. I want to learn
Right.
how to shave. I need help.
Sure.
Um, since the separation of all, I'm going to call them the subgroups for lack of a better way that I can think of
Yeah.
it. I feel like Reddit's become more uniform in its emotional output. Um,
Interesting.
and
Yeah.
then I think the people have just sort of cycled through. Like you've got the old schoolers who have just sort of like moved on, or life's taken them a different direction. And then you get the fresh people coming in asking the same questions that have been asked for, a decade,
Right.
because they don't know and they're new. And and then you get the people who are, I guess I'm considering myself in this, like the old timers of Reddit, who are like,
Sure.
oh, okay, oh, ask Eld, he'll be able to tell you this, or I know I can't answer that, but I do know if you talk to this person or that
Right.
person, they'll be able to help you out. So I think we've had a cycle through of people.
Yeah.
But I think in general the vibes pretty good. And if you found a group that works for you, whether it's IRC, whether it's Discord or Reddit, and you're happy, like you're going to be happy with that group. So I think
For
that's,
sure.
what it'll boil down to.
Yeah. And I think it's important that, well, I don't know that I'm an old timer yet, but it's been 6 years now that I'm involved. Good that the old timers are still around to sort of guide things and to share knowledge and even just to point, as you said, to point someone in the right direction when needed. Yeah. Uh, why would you tell someone to join our wet shaving?
I've tried.
And they
Um,
haven't listened. Right. No.
Well, some of them have, most of them do not because they've got their own hobbies. But I
Sure.
mean, if I can, I'm talking to someone like, oh, hey, there's this Reddit group I know, like there's a lot of good knowledge here.
Yeah.
If you're not sure what you want, like just read through, you'll get some inspiration, you'll get some questions answered. You might have a good time hanging out. And if you do, keep hanging out.
Sure.
But I think for me, it's about having fun with something that you can choose to do every day or
Yeah.
not.
Right.
So that's how I kind of phrase it to people when I'm trying to, enable.
Well, and that makes perfect sense. And as far as that goes, you seem like someone who does have really a lot of fun within this space because you've started Frankensteining things. You make a lot of things, you contribute a great deal to the community, and to me, you're an extremely valuable member. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah, my pleasure. And that's why I wanted to speak to you. So I'm sorry it took so long, but
No, it's fine. I'm
episode
deeply honored.
25 is a clutch episode to be a guest on.
There we
There you
go.
go.
I'll take it.
Great. Are you an Ohio native?
Yes, I have traveled for like summer work and
Sure.
stuff, but I'm probably 15 miles from the town I grew up in, and I've
Okay.
just kind of been happy and settled. So
Fantastic. Fantastic. What's fun to do around where you are?
I'm very much an outdoor kind of guy.
Yeah,
So we moved into this house. I think this summer's going to be 5 years or 6 years. And we got like the universe aligned. And so if I want to go hiking, I literally just have to walk out my back door. We've
that's
got
fantastic.
a metro park that was just christened by the city and they are leaving it undeveloped. Um,
Was that, I saw a
so
photo of an owl the other day, I believe by your hand. Was it there?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. That was
fantastic.
actually one of the other parks
Oh, okay,
that's
not that
like
park.
a block or two away.
Still.
We're really lucky. Like in even because I'm in Central Ohio and we've got really good metro parks. So within 20 minutes, I can go hiking in several different places. And then in Southern Ohio, we start to get into much more hilly areas. So we have
Yeah,
a lot of national forests down there, and then there's an area called Hocking Hills, which is beautiful, and they're all state parks. So there
wonderful.
are a cluster of about 7 or 8, like really, I'm not going to say intense hiking. It's not like mountain trails, but
Yeah.
for people who are not regularly hiking, you can get out there and pull some muscles trying to get from
Oh,
point A to point
absolutely.
B.
Sure.
And I've always loved that. So
That's great.
I'll do that. The kids are big fans of, like video games and go-karts. So we've got, that stuff around here. We've got a really nice art section of town. We've got some decent bars and concert venues around. So I mean, there's actually I'm pretty spoiled. There's a little bit of everything.
That's fantastic. Interesting. I've only, I said in my last interview, I've been to Ohio only to a couple of places. And
Solon, right? Northern
Solon, that's
Ohio.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
Northern Ohio.
Near the Rock
Um,
and Roll Hall of Fame, though.
Never went
Ish.
actually, but yes, ish. Been to Cleveland too, but again, never went
There
to
you
the
go.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well,
One
now
day,
you got
re
something to add to the list, my friend.
reason to visit Ohio again. Exactly. Fantastic. Um, pardon me. Any future plans for EldrormR Industries or any new concoctions on the fly?
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Whatever the muse decides to send.
Okay. I love
I've
that.
got nothing in the works. Ooh, pardon me again. Sorry about that.
Not
Nothing
at
in the
all.
works particularly, but I've still got another 40 feet of fire hose to work through. So
Perfect.
I'll be putting those out until that's done. And if
Yeah,
the people are wanting more, I'll get more. And other than that, I know this summer I've got a couple straight razors I need to make some scales for just to kind of turn around for some friends, or
sure.
hopefully one that I can sell and then get more stuff for myself. So
I love it. I love it. And maybe we'll talk, on the side about some straight razor scales because that's one thing I haven't explored at all. And I certainly am not handy in that way, or certainly don't have the tools in any case.
yeah, yeah,
So
we
that
can
could be
definitely
interesting.
chat. I've only made a small number of them, so there's still that
It's okay.
learner's character in
Of
the
course.
work.
But that gives it such a better feel and it almost humanizes it. So I love that. And
Yeah,
the few pieces of your handiwork that I own, I really cherish.
I
I mean, the
appreciate that.
Strop I
Thank
just
you.
got, but the MM24 is really a favorite razor. So, I'm sure that whatever you make will be lovable, like it or not.
Hopefully you
There
like
you
it.
go. I'm not a fanboy. No, just kidding. And on that, I will say, Leigh, it's really been a pleasure chatting, and I thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show.
Yeah, this has been a ton of fun. Thank you for inviting me on. This was wonderful.
Pleasure. And to the listeners, thanks as always for listening. You are, and your kind words are what keep me going on this. So we'll sign off for now, and we'll see you again next episode. Thanks for listening.